It's really in good shape, but it's still a $3 million project to polish this thing. So we, thanks to Evergreen Federal Bank, we had a big launch event here, getting the committee together, and many of you will be having us tap you on the shoulder and help us. We are going to be refurbishing and polishing the pack. We're going to be increasing accessibility, wayfinding, safety, theatrical improvements, a new carpet, better door hardware so the doors don't slam. And we're going to be leading up to a gala event May 17th, 2024. You can mark your calendars now to celebrate the 25th anniversary of this gem of our community. And that's our event here. Tim Sweeney is speaking. So we had all these folks come, and we need you. So please help us with that. And just generally, the Four Way Community Foundation is really looking forward. Our job is to hold the vision. Our job is to help you give back to this community. And thank you so much, all of you, for your incredible generosity and your belief in this town and the people and the relationships that make it all possible. And we're just so pleased to be able to have the opportunity to take your faith and your trust and the dollars that you entrust with us and to help our nonprofits make this such a wonderful place to live. John Higgins and Steve Rowe, you're up next. And Dawn, come on up.
Testing, testing.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Higgins. I am a member of the Four Way Foundation Board, and I have been unceremoniously asked to come up here tonight, and I had to get one of my sport coats, which I haven't worn in quite a few years, out of mothballs. I'll start by referring to what Kate affectionately mentioned, the four-way bylaws, which doesn't sound exciting, but in this particular case, the bylaws provide that board members will serve 3 consecutive 3-year terms. And so after they have served 3-year terms, or 9 years, they are asked to rotate off the board. And the reason for these provisions, it's not uncommon in nonprofits, is to have some turnover, some fresh ideas, some fresh blood on the board. And with that being the reason, it still doesn't make it any easier when one of our long-serving board members who has reached that 9-year milestone needs to rotate off the board. And I can say without exception that applies to Steve Rowe, who served from 2012 until this year. So a round of applause, please, for Steve. So in addition to his work for the Four Way Foundation, I decided to take a look at his bio and get a sense of his community commitment. And although unfortunately I can't recite it all because I'm limited on time this evening, but I can mention his work with the Rotary Gateway Club. He's been the Oregon Community Foundation involved with them, Asante. He's at the Boy Scouts. You name it. And he even, actually, his commitment, he even volunteers the family dogs for community service, which shows you how deep that commitment runs. Now, Steve came by this honestly. As you all know, remember his father, Ross Rowe, was a tremendous community asset. When I was with the school district, I used to meet with Ross at least twice a year to discuss the Performing Arts Center and his gratitude on behalf of the community and how he could help to raise more funds to keep that the jewel in the crown that the PAC is for our community. He also, with the Oregon tree planting effort every year, because the district owned property out on Stringer Gap Road, and he wanted those kids out. It used to be part of the forestry program at the high school, and he wanted to keep that tradition alive. So with all that being said, I can honestly say, and I've been back on the board now, this is my first year back, and I also had been rotated off after 3 terms years ago, more years than I'd like to remember, that Steve's wisdom and his guidance that he brings, that I've witnessed in these board meetings for the short year that I've been back, will be sorely missed. And I want to remind him that those same bylaws that require board members to rotate off after 9 years have a provision that says you may rejoin after at least 1 year away. So I hope he keeps that in mind. So Steve, thank you very much. And now Dawn has something. Are you going to be presenting? Dawn Welsh is here to present a canary, I think.
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, exactly. I'll be your old Vanna. So the board researched very carefully what we could give to Steve to express our appreciation for a decade's worth of leadership. And so we decided what we really needed to do is talk to the expert to find out. And that expert is Christy. Christy, where are you? We learned from Christy that Steve's, one of his favorite things is a wind chime that recently broke. So with that, we have a wind chime for you. Can you hear it?
I can.
Okay, open it up here. But
There we go.
in as a great analogy, you know, it is really the Cadillac of wind chimes songs. And it is loaded with lots of extras, this particular model. So it is engraved for you, and I think the other thing that is really important, and it really, from what John said, you know, you're involved in a lot of wonderful things, and this is made by a Rotary club in another place in the United States to fundraise for the many wonderful things that we as Rotarians do. And for any of you who don't know, Steve is the immediate past president of our Rotary, and his leadership has been there forever. Okay, I'll hold this for you.
Thank you.
Is Hope going to stand up there?
Well, thank you very much. And I will say that I am a believer in term limits. So one of the things that people know about my dad is when he came to you and said, "Got a minute?" you were good for another hour. So I decided to write down a few comments. But my comments tonight start with 2 simple words. Thank you. I appreciate what each of you do for our community. And I know our community and our families are facing challenges. However, when we overcome our challenges, we are made stronger. And this is what has brought us together tonight. And the Four-Way Community Foundation, in the middle word in there, is community. And please remember that I said our community foundation. This foundation's name is important. And so whether you're a nonprofit, a donor, a board member, staff, community member, each of you make a difference in making our community stronger. And I thank you for what you do. A special thank you to Christy, my wife, who supports me in all that I do in the community. She is very deserving of that. Thank you. And to my fellow Four-Way board members, thank you. I have learned from each of you, and the diversity that our board enjoys makes us stronger as well as better. We know there is uncertainty right now in our lives, but one thing we can be certain of is the Four-Way Community Foundation is here for the long term. There have been many great Four-Way board members before me, and there will be many after me, including Judy Basker, who's going to be replacing me on the board. Judy's awesome. We appreciate the confidence you have placed in our community organization, and we don't take this responsibility lightly. An important word I want to share with you tonight is the word hope. All of us have hope in our lives. To those of you not met Hope, I introduce her to you now. Hope is a registered therapy dog, and I selected Hope as her name because it is such a powerful word. A definition of hope is to want an outcome that makes our lives better. Hope is part of everyone's life. Everyone hopes for something. Four-Way Community Foundation, through the work of our many great nonprofit community organizations, gives hope to others. Whether it's a child at Boys and Girls Club, a victim of domestic violence helped by the Women's Crisis Support Center, or pets at the Rogue Valley Humane Society. These organizations and many others are made better in our community. I assure you, may think that your gift of time, money, or treasure is not that much. However, I assure you that when we add all our gifts together, nothing is impossible. My hope for you tonight is that you will have gratitude for what you have heard tonight. Again, I thank you for what you've done, and just like my hope here, whose goal as a therapy dog is to make you feel better, my hope is you will know that you know how much better you are valued, and thank you again for what you do. As my business card here says, you matter. And whilst you cannot take this dog Hope with you, you are more than welcome. I brought some You Matter cards, and you can please feel free to give these to your family, friends. You never know the power of telling someone that they matter could change a life. I hope you enjoy the special evening as we celebrate the many great people in our community. Thank you again. Thank you. Good to be here. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sue Orris, and I am honored to be a member of the board of Four-Way Community Foundation. I'm also thrilled to introduce Chris Walker, who is an amazing and promising young adult. Chris was raised and grew up in Grants Pass. He was a student as a Rotary Exchange student in Amsterdam, and he's presently a sophomore at University of Oregon, majoring in planning, public policy, and management, and minoring in business administration. Chris's life has been impacted by the recipient of the Louis F. Schultz Jr. Distinguished Service Award winner this evening. It's my honor to invite Chris to escort Brenda Patton onto the stage and talk about the influence that Brenda has played in his life, and to talk about Brenda.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. When approached to speak here tonight, I was asked to talk about the ways Brenda Patton has changed my life. Where do I begin? Whether it was her years as a wise rainbow grandmother in my life, starting from when I was just a kid, or the years that I spent getting to know Brenda one-on-one daily, one learns a lot, spending his days with someone as special as Brenda. Brenda worked hard all her life, really hard, to build an empire that benefits generations to come. She inspirationally once worked multiple jobs with 3 kids while taking a full load of credits, so one day she could make the difference that she does today. She's a pretty amazing woman. She spent many tax seasons on little to no sleep, building the best reputation and community friendships she could. She gathered and continues to take care of over 275 acres of forest. That's right, Brenda spends her retirement, chopping trees and dragging logs. She manages her land not for herself, but to share the land with young kids to whom nature is ready to heal. Every day, Brenda wakes up with a smile and a prayer for the day, asking herself how best she can serve and create harmony and love. That kind of spirit is deeply infectious, and I'm deeply grateful that some of it, just some of it, rubbed off on me in the time I spent working for her. I came to know Brenda through Rotary, and she invited me fully into her life. Brenda hired me in 2020, and just a few months later, Brenda made me co-executive director of the Table Rock Foundation. Me, at 19 years old. But Brenda's in the business of changing lives. She saw something in me and let her trust guide her decisions. Brenda's in the business of changing lives. You don't know someone can be that kind, have a spirit that big, and love that much until you get the chance to spend some time with someone like Brenda. Here are some of my favorite things about Brenda. When Brenda makes her daily decisions for her foundation and her day-to-day community service, she thinks not first of herself, but of 7 generations out, future children. Brenda always takes the high road. She thinks to put things to their highest and best use. Brenda is an optimist. She's always looking at the bright side of things and people. She recruits people for her causes and lifts up the people around her. Brenda knows that when it comes to help from other people, if you don't ask, the answer is no. And when people come into Brenda's life, they stay there forever. Everyone is her friend, and everyone connects with her. They understand her deep sincerity. Young and old, she is loved by all. Brenda has a ripple effect on the people she helps and touches. I now carry it on, and so too do my younger than me, replacements working for Brenda now, Abe and Deanie. We will all, in fact, all of us in this room, now carry on, and I know are inspired by Brenda's attitude of service and her goodness. Rainbow grandmother, Brenda, always pushes forward, no matter what life throws at her. She's always trying new things, new ideas. She puts things out there without having all of the details yet, and as she's learned throughout her miraculous life, the universe finds a way. And Brenda Patton finds a way. Brenda is deeply spiritually inclined and follows a spiritual path. Her land and her are truly one, and the earth is so important to her. Brenda is guided by the many spirits that dwell in her enchanted forest. Be they my grandmother, whose rocking chair she owns and she sits in when she needs advice, or from the beloved rainbow grandfather, Jan Patton, who sadly passed away this past year. When Jan passed, Brenda mourned him deeply, but knew Jan would want her to continue to dedicate herself to her mission of serving kids. With bravery, fortitude, and a smile on her face, Brenda, just a week after Jan's passing, was putting her all into organizing her next camp to change more kids' lives. From all of these beautiful strengths, Brenda has created spaces of healing, growth, and reflection for hundreds, maybe thousands of kids of all ages. She's done it unpaid out of all the love in her own heart for decades. May Brenda be a lesson in strength, kindness, and love to us all. So cheers to an amazing woman and her decades of service. There isn't a life she can't transform. It's my profoundest pleasure to introduce someone we all love, Brenda Patton.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Four Way Foundation, for this amazing honor. I love this community, and I love working with the young people, helping them become the best version of themselves. I've been blessed with 3 amazing children of my own who have given me even more amazing grandchildren. They are all successful and contribute to their communities in many ways. What an amazing world it would be if every youngster had the opportunity to bring their gifts in service for the greater good. This is what I strive for as a rainbow grandmother. What I love about this community are the many circles within the circles. As I become part of my various circles, I've established relationships that have allowed me to become a part of the greater whole. I first became a member of this community over 51 years ago when I moved to Takelma in 1972. This was my first circle in the community, and it has remained an important one with me throughout the years. It was here that I met the love of my life, Jan, who for the next 47 years was my rock, my support, and my encouragement. All that I'm being honored for here tonight, we created together. Sadly, he passed away 3 months ago, but not before encouraging me to continue my work with the youth in this community, and my plan is to honor his wishes. We moved to Grants Pass in the fall of 1975 to go to RCC, where I became part of my next circle. Many of the people that I met while attending Rogue have remained close friends and have played a large part in my life and my successes. I started off majoring in early childhood education because I wanted to change the world and felt that working with young children was where I needed to start. I got my certificate in early childhood education that year, but decided I needed a profession that would allow me to make a livable wage to support my kids. I signed up for a tax class and got my preparer's license. That provided me an opportunity to establish a successful tax and accounting business that lasted over 40 years. I became part of a peer counseling program at Rogue, and our class started what was to become the Women's Crisis Support Team. This was the beginning of my community service to Grants Pass. My career as an accountant and tax professional brought me into my third circle, and long-term relationships with my clients and other professionals in the community. During these years, I served on various boards and became familiar with the good work being done in our community. I was also asked to help found a new Rotary Club in Grants Pass. This was the fourth and ultimately my largest circle, for Rotary spans the globe. It is a worldwide organization with clubs in over 200 countries whose members see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change in our world, in our communities, and in ourselves. Rotary has become my life and is the vehicle within which I do most of my Rainbow Grandmother work. To me, a Rainbow Grandmother is someone who believes all children are our grandchildren and wants these young people to reach their fullest potential. My years as a tax professional also provided me the financial resources to acquire poorly managed forest land. As we purchased our land, which is currently 375 acres, I wrote an innovative forest management plan that was designed to bring the land back into balance using indigenous philosophy and techniques. Over the years, we received several awards for outstanding forest management, serving both forest and people needs. Our practices proved invaluable when in 2018, the raging Taylor Creek fire jumped the fire line and came down the mountainside directly towards our property. We were commended for our forestry management plan as our land was defensible and enabled the crew to fight the fire from our place. Our property and everything below us was spared. As we have proactively managed our property, we have explored and implemented innovative methods such as learning ways to burn slash piles with less smoke emissions and making biochar to sequester carbon and mitigate global warming. This forestry circle brought me in touch with many people in the industry and connections that helped me to design a curriculum where we could teach the latest forestry techniques and our holistic brand of management to our local youth. The last 3 years, we have been having on-ramp camps for displaced youth to learn forestry and natural resource management. We put them on in conjunction with Project Youth Plus, with funding from the Rogue workforce. We strive to include a STEAM component to our camps. There are many important changes that we need to make life on this planet sustainable for the next 7 generations. Science, technology, engineering, art, and math are disciplines that help us to find where our unique gifts can be used. Instead of asking, what do you want to be when you grow up, we are asking, what problems do you want to solve? We take a close look at a few of the environmental and social challenges that we have and explore how each of us can help to bring about the changes that we need. This year, we had our second EarthReach camp, which was called Upriver to Morning. It was based on a book written by Tish McFadden on Agnes Baker Pilgrim's teachings.